for tuning in with the Buzz with Ryder. We have a special guest today. We have DJ Newmark in the building. How you doing today?
Hey, what's good, Ryder? Thanks for having me.
No problem. How was your day today?
Oh, it was lovely. You know, I had my radio show, and we was able to bring back memories to a lot of people that was hitting me up and with their requests. And you know, that's the best part of my day is whenever I'm on the radio and I hear people telling me they haven't heard a particular song that I did a throwback that took them all the way back to a happier time and a happier space. And so, yeah, anytime I'm on air, it's a good day.
Thank you for the shout out. I can tell you that was nothing but love.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was fun to do.
So can you tell our listeners a little about who you are and how you became a DJ?
Yeah, well, you know, the DJ Newmark brand started way back, right? The good thing about me being the age that I am, I'm 50. We were hip hop. You know, it was my generation that brought hip hop into the light. And you know, one of the things that makes my story unique is that my father was in the military. So I traveled all over the world as an adolescent. And so as the hip hop culture was growing, I actually was able to introduce hip hop to a lot of different overseas areas that was really behind the times for hip hop. And being that I was an American, my popularity grew really quickly amongst the locals because they didn't have the resources to get the music that I had because you know, I was on the air base. You had people from all over the United States in one spot, and I was able to get music from all over. So I quickly became known for the music. And you know, I decided to DJ because initially when rap started, or should I say when hip hop started, I tried to rap. And I found out pretty quickly, right, I can't rap. You know what? I can rap, but I can't remember the stuff that I was writing, you know. And as a teenager, you know, we didn't have, you know, pens and paper handy, and not like your cell phone nowadays where people are always on their phone and they can articulate whatever. Yeah, you know, but so then I was like, well, okay, well, being that I can't rap, you know, I can dance. And I was always a good dancer. You know, when Michael Jackson was out, I was always impersonating him and all that.
Watch out now.
I'm telling you. So I was a b-boy. And, you know, after doing all the break dancing and stuff, and I'm performing with people that were rappers, I'm noticing like, dang, you know, these rappers are actually getting more of the girls, more of the attention than the dancers. So I had to like figure out, well, I already know I can't rap, but there's no DJs, you know, so you know, because being a DJ is expensive, right? You know, you gotta have the equipment and buy the records and all that stuff. So I was like, well, you know, my dad had some equipment. He was always into music, not even close to being a DJ, but you know, he had his Al Green music and all that kind of stuff. So behind his back, I was his equipment. And so when I found out that I could actually emulate some of the sounds that I was hearing on the radio, because remember, like in the early 80s, we didn't have music videos, at least not for hip hop, you know. And so we really never knew exactly how, I mean, again, and I'm overseas, so if I was in New York, I would know, but way overseas, we didn't really know how the scratching sounds was being made. So, you know, I did everything from getting a zipper on my jacket and zipping it up and down real quick to getting an actual record and a coin and literally scratching it. They said, "Hey, you scratching?" So okay, let me scratch this record. You know, all my dad's albums jacked up. I'm just messing them up to make this zigga zigga sound. You know, so eventually, I figured out, you know, how to DJ, and throughout, you know, as I continued to grow with the culture, and we moved around throughout different parts of the world, I was able to make a name for myself, again, because DJs weren't very common. So, you know, everybody could rap, but not everybody could DJ. So when I would move somewhere and I'm like, hey, I'm a DJ, you know, people quickly wanted to be my friend because I was that guy that was going to play the music so they could rap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, you know, how I got into the mainstream from being a local guy, basically after my father retired, I joined the military after high school. I went into the military and I continued DJing. Now it's a little bit bigger because my influence was bigger. So one day in New Jersey at a place called Fort Dix, my big break, so to speak, came when Russell Simmons came to the base to promote his Fat Farm.
That's what's up.
And every base has a club, you know, where the soldiers go. And so I guess he wanted to see what, you know, what was going on as far as what the soldiers was listening to and whatnot. And I was DJing that night in the club, and his people reached out to me and it was like, you know, we got this great marketing idea. You know, we are selling our clothing line on the base, and we kind of like want to support the troops. And, you know, this is right when Iraq was starting to die down and Afghanistan was starting to ramp up.
Right.
And, you know, one thing that with music, especially in entertainment in general, you know, you hear about the old cliche, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And they, you know, pretty much knew that dealing with like myself, I'm not going to, you know, be on that drug stuff, and I'm not going to be on, you know, some of the things that are taboo with the music industry. And that kind of worked out because that was part of what I used, you know, Ryder, to set myself apart, because I wasn't always the most talented DJ, especially being on the East Coast. I seen all these DJs, you know, scratching with their nose and doing all these tricks, and I never was like that. You know, I was just a kind of DJ like the Grandmaster Flashes, the Kid Caprice, just to get the party going. You know, like that was my thing. So we kind of networked off of that, and it sold. You know, the idea was different. It was fresh. You know, hip hop is always street oriented, you know, and not too many people in the industry was known for just being, you know, clean cut. So that's kind of like how I got my niche, and one door opened after another from that, having that on my resume, my entertainment resume. And next thing you know, I became the Oakland Raiders official DJ at one point. And now I got my radio show. And so yeah, it's just been like that. It's, you know, one of the good things about being a DJ is that I get to meet a lot of people throughout my 30 years behind the turntables. And I've worked with a lot of entertainers and a lot of well-known acts in the hip hop culture. But at the same time, I'm able to still remain spotlight free, if you will. You know? And so that's why, you know, DJ Newmark is not necessarily a common household name, but within the industry, you know, I'm somewhat known. You know what I'm saying?
Very much. Now, let me ask you a question. How did you even come up with the name DJ Newmark?
Well, it's interesting. You know, for DJs, the staple equipment to have as far as turntables is a brand called Techniques. And they are really expensive. Okay.
Right.
So there are some entry level brand name stereo equipment, DJ equipment like Gemini and Newmark, Numark. So after being able to purchase my first entry level, because remember, I was using my dad's stuff, and it was not pretty because, you know, he had these integrated cassette tape things within. You have to lift up the top, and now there's a turntable. And so, you know, I was bringing that to parties, and it was bad, Ryder. But so whenever I was able to afford my own DJ equipment, the Newmark brand was what my budget would allow me to get. And I always told, myself that I would always pay homage if I was able to carry out some of my dreams in the industry, that I would always give homage to where I began. And that was with the Newmark brand. And I didn't want to, for trademark issues,
Right.
the same way that brand was, the NU MARK. So I just changed it up, NEW MARK. And coincidentally, Ryder, there is a DJ Newmark out there, NU MARK, and he is actually very well known as well in the industry as a producer. And oftentimes we get confused. People they look for me, but they're not thinking of spelling Newmark NU. NEW, and then they put in NU, and they're like, this is not the guy that I'm looking for. but yeah, that's how I became DJ Newmark.
That's what's up. Did you have to overcome any challenges along your way?
Most definitely. One thing about music, and well, you know what, right? I think in general is that whenever you're moving all throughout your life, it's really hard to maintain continuity, and everything, even in the business world, is a lot of how you're successful is based upon who you know, right?
Very much.
So, growing up, I got into a lot of fights initially as an adolescent, because I was always the new kid. And there is a taboo that military kids are spoiled. They're military brats. I don't know if you ever heard of that term.
Yes.
Military brat. And so it was hard, because I'm trying to make a name for myself as a DJ in these different communities that I'm moving to. And a lot of the DJs that might have been there didn't want to embrace me, because, who's this new guy? And,
right.
These people are local. So I was looked at as a threat, because I was bringing music from places that wasn't organic to where they were. So, it's kind of like in hip hop, as you know, every region has like their own sound. New York has their sound, the Dirty South has their sound, and South Florida, where I'm at, has their hip hop sound, like everywhere, California.
Yep.
So with me coming there as a new face, and I'm in California, for example, but I got the hottest stuff from Houston, Texas, and I got the hottest stuff from New York. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. So that was the biggest challenge, learning how to network and always pressing the reset button as I moved from city to city.
Oh wow, that had to be tough there. That had to be tough. When you're not DJing, what other things are you enjoying to do on your free time?
I'm happily married. I've been married now, going on almost 2 decades, and
oh wow, congrats!
Thank you. I have a total of 4 children, ranging from the age of 32 to 14. So right now I got the 14-year-old that I'm trying to groom to hurry up and get the heck out of the house. He's only a freshman, so
don't do her like that.
But I got a tradition that I started with the oldest. On your 18th birthday, as I'm singing "Happy Birthday," I'm packing them up with their suitcases to you. Happy birthday. So, this 14-year-old Ryder is giving me a lot of joys. And I think, there's a bittersweet, because I know that he is the last bird in the nest, per se.
Right.
But outside of, my musical endeavors, I love to bowl. I'm a actual high school basketball coach as well. So, working with the community, working with the young people, really gives me a lot of a feeling of accomplishment. We all can relate to when we was in school and there was a teacher or a coach or somebody that you was like, this is a cool person, you know, that
Right.
you might want to pattern some part of your life after. And I've been blessed enough to have people tell me that I was that person for them.
That's a
After,
blessing.
you know, yeah, well after high school. So I've been coaching almost as long as DJing.
Oh,
Obviously,
wow.
I was DJing first because I was a youngster, but right after high school, because I played basketball in high school, and I kind of felt that was another part of my calling, is mentorship, you know.
Okay.
So some people
That's
say
good.
control. Some people say I like to control, which
A control freak.
well, you know what, Ryder? Let me tell you, there may be something to that, and I'll admit you'll be the first person out of all these years and all the interviews I've ever done that I'm gonna say something. There may be some truth to controlling, because let me tell you, the DJ has an unbelievable amount of control over its environment. Okay.
Right, right.
The DJ even controls the MC. All right. Because if the music stops, chances are the MC is going to stop, right?
Right, right.
And so if there's no MC and everyone's just dancing, again, if I throw on something crazy, right, more than likely people will stop. You know,
That's very true.
correct. I control the environment. And so it's that control that I found very intoxicating, because you feel, you know, this performance high. And as a coach, you know, I have, again, control of the environment that I'm in, and all of the players play the way that I want them to play, or they're going to sit down and not get in the game. So
right.
yes, there is an element of that, but let me be clear. I don't have Napoleon syndrome. Let me look all in the camera. I don't have Napoleon syndrome. I promise.
He does not. Okay, does not go there. All right. How about somebody that's trying to succeed and go after their dream? What is something that you can give them that helped you? What advice can you help?
Yeah, Ryder. You know, my thing is, first of all, have a plan. Vision, you know, don't let someone, first of all, tell you that your vision is good or bad or whatever, because it's your vision. And when you have that vision, then try to visualize the steps to get to the vision. You know, if I want to make a chocolate cake and I can almost taste that cake, well, I have to start thinking about the ingredients of what I need to buy in preparation of that cake. And then I got to start thinking about, you know, well, how am I going to mix the ingredients? And then where am I going to bake it? And how long do I need to bake it? And then when it's out, you know, how do I cut it? And how do I frost it before I get to that end state of eating that cake, right? So it's the same thing with anything that you plan, whether it's in your finance world. You know, you want to make so much money, you got to figure out how to budget. You got to figure it out, you know, how much are you spending versus how much you're making. And or if it's in the music industry, you know, you want to be a DJ. All right, well, there are different types of DJs. There's a club DJ, there's a mixtape DJ, there's a concert DJ. Like there's so many things. And so what I often tell people is, when you're in your pursuit of your dreams, you know, just dreaming is just the first step. Now you have to really put thought, and it's okay to listen to other people's opinion, right? Because sometimes someone may bring you a thought that you hadn't considered, but don't let negativity and instant gratification, or should I say the lack of instant gratification, make you change your dreams. You know, one thing in today's world is everybody wants stuff now, you know, fast food now, get a 4-year college degree in 2 years now. You know, everything is right now. And sometimes your dreams can't come to fruition in a quick, you know, manner in which you want. So you got to keep grinding, and don't never lose sight of what your dream is. That's my advice to anybody for them trying to pursue what's in their heart.
Good advice. How is it having your own radio show?
It's awesome. You know, I tell you, right, I never thought, and I don't know, maybe this would be a good question that you can ponder as well. You know, before COVID and before we were shut in, before the world stopped spinning,
Right.
I never thought that I would get into broadcasting. Never thought I would do that. And when 2020 hit and we were starting to get locked down, I noticed a lot of my DJ peers were going on different social media platforms and doing virtual performances, you know?
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, I wish I could change it, but I'm old school, so I'm behind when it comes to technology. And you know, that's why, you know, I'm so impressed by looking at your background right there with your logo. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that my peers were doing, and they were doing performances, and they were actually charging people to watch them on their phones. It's incredible, the platforms that were available. And I couldn't do it. I didn't have the technical. I wasn't ready. Like Kevin Hart would say, no, he wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be shut in.
Right.
So I was talking to a buddy of mine that works at the station that I'm on. And I was just basically asking him, because he was one of the people that was broadcasting from his home and actually making money doing it. So I'm asking him, you know, how do you do it, and this and that and the other. And we were talking about the radio station, because they still, the radio station never really stopped broadcasting. It's just that since people were shut in, everyone working from home, the radio station set them up to where they can broadcast from home remotely. And I thought, wow, you know, that actually is more my speed, because it's more audio. It's not video and stuff. So I started inquiring, you know, more and more about broadcasting, and to his credit, you know, he was very transparent, and, you know, he didn't harbor any information and fearing that I might, you know, overshadow him, or, you know, sometimes, like I told you, the industry can be really really interesting as far as people who you think are supportive of you, but they're really not. And so he got me in contact with the management and the ownership, and after they reviewed my you know, my entertainment resume, if you will, and we talked, they was like, okay, you know, he can somewhat enunciate and pronunciate, you know, you have to. And I guess that was all that military training that I had, because I had went into the military. I don't know if I talked about that, but I spent nearly 30 years in the Army. So you know, they teach you how to, you know, as you move up in the ranks, how to talk and project your voice and all that kind of stuff. So all of that came in handy once again, you know, my military leverage. So
that's good.
So that's how I got into broadcasting, and it started off with just a little bit here, a little bit there, but people were responding, wanting to hear more of DJ Newmark. So I wind up, because I first started with just one day. It was just Saturday. It wasn't for 6 hours. And then the people requested more of me. And so then it went from Saturday for a couple hours to Saturday for 6 hours. And then Sunday, for 6 hours. So now I have Saturday and Sunday for 6 hours.
That's a big step up.
That is, you know, and I love every minute of it. And I'll tell you something else too, being that I'm already connected with the community, now as a broadcaster, I'm really, really saturated with the community, because I like to use my platform for, you know, various events and organizations that definitely could use the coverage, because they're doing wonderful things. And people such as yourself, you know, I don't mind giving you shout outs, because I've seen the episodes that you've done, and I'm all into support. Yes, you are so positive, and that was one of the reasons why I reached out to you to introduce myself, because I really think you're doing wonderful things with your platform, and I wish you much continued success, definitely.
So much. That is very touchy. Can you let our listeners know where they can find you, like where they can look you up at?
Absolutely. You know, you can hit me up on my website, www.djnewmark.com. Through there, you can find the different social media links like Instagram, which is DJ Newmark. I'm on Cameo. So if people want to book me, so if you have a special shout out, you know, for an engagement or whatever, you know, and you want me to give you a little something, you can hit me up on Cameo. And then more importantly, if you're outside of the Palm Beach, Florida, and you can't listen to the Yo 107.1 in your car, then all you got to do is go to your phone, log in www.yopalmbeach.com, YOPalmbeach.com, and hit the listen live link. And I don't care where you're at. If you're in Istanbul, Turkey, if you in Afghanistan, if you in Germany, I don't care, Russia, China,
all around the world.
As long as you got internet service, all right, you can hear the DJ Newmark experience anytime you want on the weekends. Definitely.
Make sure you guys check him out. He is dope. I'm telling you, dope vibes, everything.
But thank you for having me, for real. Thank you.
No problem. It's all love.
I'd like to give a shout out to a new friend of mine. Her name is Ryder, and on her platform, it's called The Buzz. I'm going to be a guest, so check your local listings. And again, it'll be broadcasted on my Instagram at DJ Newmark, and you'll be able to see exactly how to get to her in all of her previous episodes. I'm telling you, these ladies, they represent entertainment and news, and they put it down the best way that they know how, which is straight up, no lies, no drama, no chaser, and of course, it's always first class. Getting